Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now getting closer to the official release of Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1, which by the way is going to serve as a main competitor against Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. Bob Iger is anticipating this, as well as Kathleen Kennedy, and surprisingly Phoebe Waller-Bridge, including on the list, that are all very much worried about exactly what it's going to actually do to the 5th Indiana Jones film and its box office turnout. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that there's a lot of great things coming out of everything else besides Disney. Tom Cruise is doing excellent things with Mission Impossible. Universal is doing some superb material with the Mario, or the Nintendo-verse, whatever you want to call it, right? So, there is a turnaround for a good way by multiple studios out there that know what they're doing. You know, Paramount, Skydance, Universal. So far, they really are becoming favored studios right now. And adding to the list on top of this, we also have a lot of things going on right now with Phoebe Waller-Bridge behind closed doors, and exactly why she has a very big grudge and is very much furious with actor Tom Cruise about, of course, what it's going to do to Indiana Jones 5, and a whole lot more added to the list. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing has much to do also with Kathleen Kennedy, the Disney board, Bob Iger, etc., what's really going on with that shakeup, and more. Now, with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, as of late, heavily upselling Indy 5 in an attempt to save the film and to drive up ticket sales, she recently has been having similar issues, much like both Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger have been, of course, with Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible 7. One big development is that behind the scenes, Waller-Bridge has been very angry with Tom Cruise for a very specific reason, and how his Mission Impossible film is going to obliterate the box office for Indy 5, but that's not the only reason. Phoebe was counting on Indy 5 to be her best project in years, and really wanted it to be a great launch pad for her Tomb Raider series, and that this is why the subject is bothering her so much over why Disney and Lucasfilm chose a slot that was so close to Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 7. It has reportedly bothered Phoebe Waller-Bridge behind the scenes, so much to the point that she has been reaching out to Kathleen Kennedy to convince some of the Disney board members to actually put Waller-Bridge in Disney's planned spy film series that is intended to compete against Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible films, since Cruise recently stated that his MI movies will keep on going. However, surprisingly, Disney is refusing to bring Waller-Bridge into their spy film series, and that they want nothing to do with her getting involved in that franchise that they are currently developing right now and plan to announce sometime in 2024. Now guys, I don't know if you missed it, but we talked about this yesterday, that Disney and of course, the board, Bob Iger, they're all planning to create the equivalent of Mission Impossible, except it's going to be done all through Disney, and it's going to be a very big franchise to them, at least, a way for them to compete against Tom Cruise, because they now view Skydance and Paramount as their main competitors of all time. And there's a main reason why. When you look at that, it's the contrast. Look at what happened with Elemental, look at what happened now with Indy 5, and look at what Mission Impossible is doing right now, even with the pre-ticket sales. Look at what Top Gun Maverick did. I mean, they are off the charts successful, and Disney knows that they're in trouble, and that's exactly why Bob Iger and the board are really creating this spy film series that's going to compete against Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible films. Now, do I think it's really going to do anything? Do I think it's going to be a main competitor? Not a chance. I highly doubt it, and I wouldn't be too surprised if they throw in some crazy agendas in there that's going to drive further Disney fans away from that. So it's really not a good call on their end. They, for once in a very long time, years ago, were doing it right with Pirates of the Caribbean. I feel like ever since then, things have just been falling apart one after the other for Disney movies and Disney Plus shows and so on and so forth. Even with the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that too has been heavily lacking as well. Anyways, moving on. Now, behind the scenes, Waller-Bridge is described to already hold a grudge against Tom Cruise and is at the same exact time angry with Disney, which could also lend itself also to why They recently fired her from the Lando show. Alright, we talked about this yesterday. Apart from Indy 5's underperformance. Additionally, Kathleen Kennedy, too, along with the board, are very envious over Cruise's efforts with the Mission Impossible franchise and how they are about to completely outperform Disney's movies. They officially view him, Paramount, and Skydance as their main competitor right now, and it's going to be a big box office matchup for the coming weeks. Now, we know that when we look at stuff like this, there's a lot of things going on when it comes to Indiana Jones 5. They did it wrong. They poured way too much money into this thing. They didn't market it correctly, and as we talked about earlier, Bob Iger just willingly gave Kathleen Kennedy a requested extra $100 million in funding for Indiana Jones 5. And that goes to tell you right there that they didn't know what they were doing, they didn't know what Indiana Jones was all about, and what was going to actually be, pretty much a consequence of introducing it to a newer generation too. Because think about it this way, do Generation Z kids out there really know Indiana Jones all that much? Not really. I mean, this movie was really, if anything, should have been catered to, I should say, to the hardcore fans, the people that grew up with these films, throughout, of course, the 80s and the 90s, and that's what they should have done, I mean, nobody will ever forget Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. As far as I'm concerned, the Crystal Skull film is not in my mind at all. I always think about The Last Crusade as literally the last movie. I know some of you guys were joking that, the Crystal Skull film is like they're in heaven or something crazy like that, but anyways, what's interesting about this is that there's a lot of things going on between Disney and Lucasfilm to compete against Tom Cruise right now. It's really a very big deal. Anyway, on top of that, we also know that Kathleen Kennedy, is really also trying to up her efforts with the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. So, given that Tom Cruise risks his life, does all these amazing stunts, really performs these, amazing feats that we have never seen before in cinema history, and that's exactly why people go ahead and see these movies, is for the stunts that he's involved in. We know that he puts his life on the line, and it's real stuff. It's not CGI, overblown stuff at all, and you can see where they're going with it. They really are trying their absolute best to really just top their game and to really make cinema back to the way it used to be, and that was by creating original content and really putting stuff out there that people have never seen before. And so Tom Cruise coming out a couple of days ago saying that these MI movies are not going to stop, that put Disney on edge, and that's why during that emergency meeting they were making these proposals of creating these spy film movies, or spy film series, whatever you want to call it, in order to get those in theaters eventually and compete against Tom Cruise. I don't think it's going to work at all in the least anyways, but guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.